Let's call the meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Any changes to the agenda?
I do have one item I want to chat with the council on under administration. I want to talk to the council about increase in scope to the compensation study.
We just finished up reports, including administration.
But this is a business item. It requires action, can't be done under.
So we put it under general business then?
Can do it under general business.
All right. We'll just call it A. Any other changes or motions?
Motion to approve as amended.
Motion by Amanda,
Second.
by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. We have no presentations, proclamations, or acknowledgements. We'll open up to public comment. Anyone? Yeah, come on up.
I might have missed this, but I was going to get an update on where the appropriations permit is at. I might have missed it.
We haven't talked about
Nothing.
the appropriation permit since April of last year, but the well test,
The well test
That
to
is-
get the appropriation.
Yes,
Right.
yep.
permit. Okay, well,
we're
let's-
looking
I'm
at
sorry
about a
about
week
that.
delay before we can start because of the equipment that we needed to buy to measure the water in the wells. So we're looking at, if things go well, starting monitoring on the 23rd, start pumping on the 30th, then we'd be pumping to like Thanksgiving time, and then monitoring until December 1st again.
And then has the DNR, they're still planning on looking at the data? Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and so, and have they indicated a time frame in regards to
No.
that?
And I wouldn't believe them if they did.
So we don't know where
It's-
that's, or when they'll come in. The data will go to them. Is there anything that has to happen with the data?
We'll be giving them weekly uploads of, because this is all recorded automatically.
On the equipment?
And on the equipment, our consultant will, consultant LRE will download that weekly, send it to the DNR, but at the end, they will have to compile again, and they do some processing of it, and then it'll be sent to the DNR for a.
And I've seen some of the changes to the pump plan. Has there been any additional changes to that at all?
There was one well that the DNR wanted us to monitor, turns out it's been sealed. So that won't happen. But otherwise, everything they asked for went in the plan.
Got it. And so the wells that were in that last plan I seen, that's what they are.
Yep.
Exactly.
Gina, one other item is that the DNR was requiring that the city drill 2 monitoring wells,
Yes,
and those were drilled last week.
they did.
And the DNR and the U.S. Geological Survey were on site to observe the core samples and understand the geology in those areas.
Okay, good. So, and they didn't make any comment on that, they just reviewed it, is that correct?
They may have made comments on site
But
to
they didn't-
staff,
they
but
didn't
not.
do
They
the
approve,
proposal.
they actually required them, and the protocol, drill one, if you find this, drill a second one. That was all done, they were on site, they approved, so everything.
Oh, so they ended up drilling 2 though?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so those are done.
Mhm.
That's what I want. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Jody, you got anything?
Me?
Yeah,
I'm just learning,
all right.
trying to math.
We'll close public comment. Anyone have anything on consent? Otherwise, I do have a question on something, but if someone else has something, go first. Question I had, and we don't have to move this or anything, and just regarding item E, we're just adopting a plan, right? We're not really authorizing anything, right?
Oh, with the CIP?
Yeah.
No, it's a financial plan.
It's just a plan.
As with other things, it's an expression of intent, it's a guide, it provides a basis for discussion and planning, but in adopting the plan, It is not authorizing anything specifically.
That's what I assumed. When I saw the water expenses on there,
Yep.
make sure we weren't putting the cart before the horse, so. That's all I had. Any motions?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
By Josh. We're gonna go with Gina for second.
Okay,
All in
sounds
favor?
like a tie.
Aye.
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 Sorry, Gina, everyone pointed to you. so.
Oh, that's okay.
We have a public hearing tonight, which is a continued public hearing for the public improvement hearing for the 2024 pavement rehabilitation project. Go ahead and, I can just open the meeting, right? We don't need a motion. We'll go ahead and open the hearing. Anyone here to speak?
So we have no presentations or actually plans to receive any testimony. It does need to be continued to the next
Yep.
meeting to meet mailing notice, so if you want to, unless somebody wants to, I guess, but
Seeing no one here that cares to comment, and being that the publication was that this was for the 26th. Anyone want to make a motion to continue it?
Motion to continue the public improvement hearing for the 2024 pavement rehab project.
Motion by Amanda.
Second.
Second by Josh. All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's tabled. I guess we have to close the public hearing, right?
Correct.
Public
No,
hearing.
actually, are you continuing?
We're continuing.
Oh, yeah, we
Continued,
continued
so it
it,
doesn't need
which
to be
is
closed.
separate than, got it. All right, general business.
We have none, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you had the thing.
I do have the one item. So, we are currently working on the compensation study, for the city employees. In discussions that I've had with council members individually, there has been a desire expressed to want to present the information to the employees in a forum where they can get it and ask questions, more than just getting a copy of the report. I think that's a good idea. Part of the reason you would want to do that is, one, simply having the report available in the packet, does not necessarily convey the same level of detail related to methodology, nor does it allow for interactive feedback from people who might have questions related to it. It also allows you to present the information specific to each individual work unit and answer questions that they might have specific to the positions within that work unit. To provide those presentations to the individual work units is outside of scope, and so it would be at an hourly rate. I've talked to the consultant, and the time to prep, travel time, presentation time, all the costs, they're estimating at about $2,300. They said maybe up to 25, depending on how long it takes. I think that's unlikely. But we have to keep in mind, you are dealing with a specialized consultant. We're not gonna have the entry-level person giving the presentation, and there's hours of time involved. So I'll be honest, it's about what I would have expected for the cost to provide that service.
And the benefit of the cost is, remind me?
So the benefit is that it's more transparent to the employees. In my experience, when you deal with these things, as soon as the packet goes out, the employees go straight to that. They go to what they want to look at. They may or may not fully understand what they're reading, or they may not read it at all. There's a greater potential for misunderstanding. There's a week before the presentation is given to council, which they may or may not participate on, and that misunderstanding can lead to a certain level of angst and morale issues or potential friction as we're working with the employees or negotiating contracts further down the line. This is just being more transparent. It demonstrates to the employees that we're trying to be transparent, and they're starting their discussion or their opinion or their personal evaluation of what the results of that study are based on the best information. At the end of the day, if this reduces turnover and things like that, one employee, if you look at the cost of recruiting and retaining, if it affected one employee leaving somehow, the cost of recruiting, going through the recruitment process, training that employee far, far exceeds the cost of this. I'm not saying that if we don't do it, we're gonna lose an employee, but within the scheme of things, it's a relatively small cost.
Is it feasible to get the report and look at it first and then make a decision whether we want to have someone come out?
So, as I was talking with council members, the feeling was that it would be beneficial to present it to the employees before the council meeting. At this point, we will just have time to do that before the report goes out. And it may not be possible to do then the presentations before the council meeting. It's possible.
I don't like spending $2,300 when we really have no idea whether we need it.
And you said that this isn't within scope, so what is normally within scope? I mean, can we not get the report emailed and then just discuss it with employees, or can?
We can do anything the council wants. It's actually very common in larger cities for them to have employee interactions when they're looking at substantial changes to the compensation structure. We're a relatively small organization, and because we are diligent about going out and doing market studies, the adjustments are relatively small, and so we've never done it before. I wouldn't say it's the norm, but I would say that it's not uncommon for organizations to do that when they're looking at implementing. This is not your typical year. Based on the information and the initial feedback we've received from the consultant, we're not going to be looking at like a 1.5% adjustment to the overall salary schedule. We're going to be looking at something that's substantially greater than that for a market adjustment. And so it's a little bit bigger. I can also tell you that within the work units that we have, there are expectations that they have based on what they've seen happening in the market and the types of adjustments that have happened at other cities. And so if the results are not aligned with their expectations, you want to have the people that actually did the study to be able to explain the methodology and the data. That's normally not an issue in most years. This year, I think it's more of an issue.
Council?
Do you need to have a motion to do this, or?
There isn't a contingency built into it. I think it's appropriate for me to have direction or a motion from the council if you want to increase the scope of work.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I guess.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Passes.
Thank you.
Administration?
No, Mr. Mayor, unless there's any questions for me from the council.
Anything for Public Works to pass on, other than the report back?
No, nothing beyond the report.
Chief?
Good evening. Just a staffing update. We have our newest officer, Jeff Adabo, will be starting on the 20th, a week from today, or from tomorrow. And going to start administrative stuff, begin his training, which will take approximately 3 months before we'll feel the full impact of that staffing position. We interviewed 2 more candidates, applications that came in, did first round interviews, and neither made it through the second round interview. Just didn't meet our standards and qualifications that we needed. And we're proceeding on once we just bought uniforms and everything for Jeff Adabo, so we're excited to have him aboard. You'll get to meet him here soon at our badge swearing in here. And then I'm open for any questions. All right, keep it short.
Sounds good. Engineering?
Just briefly on the pump test for the aquifer. I had a meeting today with LRE and people that are gonna actually be doing some of the measurements from our staff in the city. Basically primarily because of the equipment that you authorized at the special meeting. That won't be here till, I think, the 17th. Getting that set up and in place, we're probably looking at about a week delay in starting the overall test. So rather than on Monday, the 16th, if things go well, we'll be starting on the 23rd, which means we'll be ending December 1st, which is not as early as I would like. But hopefully the weather holds and we'll get through it. So.
Community development?
I think since the last city council meeting, we've taken full acquisition of the property adjacent to City Hall. So I think it's
We're gonna work with the SWAT team on some dynamic entry type stuff and some training, building searches type stuff where we won't necessarily have to worry about causing any damage, so we're a little excited about that. So
It's gonna
Do you
happen
need some
right
bad
here.
guys?
Can we have a kegger first?
Can we put a word out to the community so we don't like see
What's
Facebook
going
pages
on?
blow up?
One of the super nice things is it's completely hidden back there, and it's not gonna be, loud. It's gonna be interior, inside the house searching and everything like that. They're not gonna be helicoptering in or rappelling in or anything like that, but it's far enough, that's why it's an ideal location. It's far enough back from the road.
Could we post something anyway, cause people will, someone will see it.
No, yeah. So there's some huge officer safety concerns if you're saying ahead of time on this date and time, we're gonna have 30 officers here. They'd be prone for attack and stuff like that. Yes, during that time, like right before, but so much of it is gonna be contained inside the house. And then the parking is gonna be behind and out of sight as well. I really don't think it'll have an impact, but we can right as it's starting, but we just don't wanna give a ton of advance notice. And then we do have signs that we can place on the driveway that police training in progress, so we will definitely make sure there's nothing. It's not like burning a house down, it's not visible, especially where it's at,
Alright,
so.
anything for parks to pass along?
Just a quick heads up, the Parks Commission, the primary item that they talked about last night was responding to the council's request for recommendation related to potential ordinances restricting use of cannabis and smoking cannabis and tobacco and other forms of tobacco and cannabis in the parks. On a split decision, 3-2, the recommendation was to provide for no additional ordinances or restrictions related to the use of those within the parks.
Sounds like a controversial parks.
It was very amiable, but there was a clear, there was a clear division of opinion, so.
CCEC,
Just planning for the Halloween party, which is October 28th. We're looking for businesses to sponsor doors and decorate and sign up beforehand because it's cheaper and then you don't have to wait in line. October 28th, 10 to noon.
other report scale is tomorrow. Now I can't remember who the host update is. The focus is transportation, there's gonna be a panel that includes our senator, Senator Duckworth, so. If you have the link and feel like checking it out, maybe worthwhile doing it. For scale exact, Tom, maybe you remember it better when we were talking about the,
Legislative platform, so,
no, well, that wasn't what I meant.
oh.
I was talking about the lobby.
Oh, yes. So one of the things that came up out of the last legislative session, along with many pieces of legislation, which just seemed to pop up that nobody really realized were there and kind of weren't fully vetted, was there was a change related to who is identified and has to report as a lobbyist. And there's still some discussion as defining it, but if you lobby any elected official in the state, so that could be a resident talking to you, us talking to our elected officials, and the value of that adds up to more than $3,000, you have to register and report as a lobbyist. So having Tom come on a monthly basis, if the value of that exceeds $3,000, we could all be, the city could be considered a lobbyist and we would have to register.
How
It's
much
a-
are you worth over there?
So if you think about it, let's say we're having a strategy meeting with the county on how we're going to get I-35 interchange rebuilt, and we have a lot of staff in there and maybe some consultants, everybody's gonna have to lobby, potentially everybody could have to register as a lobbyist and start reporting on that.
That's really stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is, but it is the law and it goes into effect January 1st.
Who's enforcing it?
We're gonna find out more information. Part of the discussion was, this is a big thing that flew under everybody's radar, that a lot of people are just now starting to become aware of, and so there was a discussion about a scale meeting at one of the scale general membership meetings, providing some information related to it.
Seemed like maybe one member brought it up and none of the rest of us had any idea what was being talked about, so.
And they were aware of it because they're professional lobbyists. So,
Anything for service delivery?
no, that's later this month.
Okay. Then there's a memo for I-35. Is there anything more you wanted to add?
I had a conflict come up last night for this morning, so I couldn't make it, and it was too late to get Gina there, and she was already committed, and Tom was already committed, so nobody's there. I did let him know we weren't coming, so.
Mr. Mayor, can I just say one thing that happened there this morning? Sure. So we're going through our goals for next year for the lobbyists, and in those goals and parameters, they did not include the 35 and 2. And I noticed it, I was gonna say something, when another commissioner actually brought it up and said, we should get that on there. And I thought,
Hell yeah.
wow, it was one of this whole group, so I said.
Whoa.
So I'm like, now other people are talking about it, so.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, so that'll be part of our lobbying platform, so that's.
I guess we're on to discussion by council. I only had one thing, Tom, you sent out that letter, right? I emailed you a letter yesterday to send out to council.
To be perfectly blunt, I'm still catching up on
Got it.
email from Tuesday. So,
Okay. I'll just kind of summarize the situation. So the Mayor Jordan contacted me, and he's contacting all the Scott County mayors. There's a situation in Sand Creek Township in which they are looking to have an industrial development. The city of Jordan's concerned because that area is within their comp plan. They've invested resources into this. I don't know exactly what the resources are, but they've invested resources from the city standpoint into getting stuff ready for industrial development when they take over the property. This township doesn't want to let the property be annexed into the city. They want to keep the tax base for it. So the ask upon us is if we would support a letter being sent on behalf of Scott County cities to Scott County, kind of opposing this proposal. So since this is kind of fresh to all of you guys, Tom, I don't know if you can send the letter out now.
well, so I can give a little more background. I'm not familiar with this specific issue, but the same discussion came up.
Happened in Prior.
Up with Prior Lake. And there's a general trend within the county where there are developers that are looking to develop rural industrial park areas that are within the 2040 growth boundaries of cities. And because they have been within the 2040 growth boundaries for a number of years, the cities that are expected to grow into that area have made investments in infrastructure to ultimately serve those areas when were anticipated to be developed at an urban level. So you run into the friction between townships that are looking to develop industrial areas from a tax-based standpoint with the intent to keep it perpetually within the township versus cities who may have been making investments in infrastructure for decades based on the plan that it was ultimately going to be urbanized. So it is a rural-urban conflict
Right.
issue.
You explained it better than I did. I guess what I'm looking for is this something the council would want to discuss and come to a consensus on? Do you want me just to make a decision on it? What do y'all want to do? How do you want to handle it?
I would need more information, and then I'd rather discuss it versus you make a decision if it's on behalf of all of us.
I would definitely need more information. I want to know exactly what
Okay.
Jordan has put money-wise into the township.
Yeah, it's more a principal request on
Right,
to
right.
us, but
Need more information.
that's good.
I'd go a step further and say there's no way in hell I would support a letter and get in the middle of somebody else's business like that. Yeah.
No, that gives me what I need. I'll get back to the mayor accordingly.
I will still forward out the draft letter to
Yeah.
everybody.
Any other discussion by council? Any motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Amanda,
Second.
second by Josh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.